Hi everybody, how are you? Back to the Ghostship. Trial still going on. You know what? It's moving, according to the judge, a whole lot more quickly than they thought. A lot of times that happens in trials like this, and it happens because you've got very experienced lawyers on both sides, and they sort of cut through the BS and move right to the heart of the case. That's what's happening here. All right, latest. The judge says if the Warriors win and we get to a game 6, the court's not going to be in session. And I know a lot of people, and one in particular that works here, that's really upset and like, how can the judge do that? Why don't they move on with the trial? It really does make sense for those of you who feel the same way, because the courthouse is downtown near the lake. A lot of traffic's going to be out there. If the Warriors win Game 6 and that wins the series, it's going to be chaos downtown, and it's not fair to the jurors to have to come downtown and try to park. It's going to make it really difficult. So she said, in those circumstances, if it happens, no trials those days. Makes sense. All right, you want me to boil this trial down to one simple thing for you, and this is what you should keep your eye on. The jury instructions that's going to be read to the jury is going to talk about criminal negligence. If the defendants were criminally negligent, and there are a couple other things in there, but if they're criminally negligent, they could be guilty of this. Now, how do we define criminal negligence? It's an act or lack of an act done by either Almena or Harris that is so different from the way a reasonable person would act in the same situation that it amounts to a disregard for human life. Let me tell you that again. Criminal negligence, it's an act or a non-act, an omission, that is so different from the way a reasonable person would act in the same situation that it amounts to a disregard for human life. Now think about that. What's the disregard for human life? What's the criminal negligence here? The district attorney is saying they shouldn't have had all those wires, all the electrical problems they had that they didn't fix, that put people in danger, and that an ordinary person would act. In other words, no ordinary person would do what Almena and Harris did, that they're not guilty, because it doesn't show a disregard for human life. And that's why when you listen to the trial and the government has put on witnesses where the defense asked them, hey, you live there, were you afraid? Did you ever fear for your life? Nope. Felt perfectly safe there. Firehouse was down the street. People came by. CPS came by one time, Child Protective Services, and said it's okay for Almena's kids to live there. Okay, so would an ordinarily reasonable person act as Almena and Harris did? The government says no. They would make the repairs or not let people live there. The defense will argue, there are a lot of people that said they feel safe there. That's what a reasonable person would do. That's the crux of this case. And that's why I say this case could be heading for a hung jury, or maybe even a not guilty in this particular case. And if it comes back guilty, I'm telling you, it's going to be because 36 lives were taken. And we're a society where someone's got to be blamed for that. Someone's got to be held accountable. Who is it? Is it going to be Harris and Almena, or should it be the owners of the building and the children of the owners of the building, or should it be all of them? It could be interesting. So, would an ordinary reasonable person do what Harris and Almena did? That's going to be the big question for the jurors. All right, and we'll see you next time. Remember, all it takes is all you got. Hey, by the way, before we go, anybody want any recipes? I mean, I'm telling you, my sister's got some great recipes. I'm trying to lose weight now because I've been following way too many of her recipes. So if you want any, let me know what you want. I'll dig into her treasure trove and I'll give them to you. I'm telling you, they're outstanding recipes. All right, again, all it takes is all you got.